Welcome to Movie Night with Johnny Cinema. I am your host, Johnny Cinema, here with my co-host, Tobe DePalma. And, oh man, of all the movies that I've been waiting to talk about, this one is high on the list. Because this week, we are going to talk about Captain America Civil War.
Yeah, I think that I have been almost unrealistically, embarrassingly excited for this thing. I built it up a lot. I mean, you are too, but I'm a huge Marvel nut. That I think I was probably most excited for this one out of anything they put out so far.
For me, I am, and I have gone on record to say I'm not a huge superhero fan. I get into them, but I'm not a diehard fan, and I've kind of actually been on the side of I'm getting sick of these superhero movies. But this was one that I was excited for, and I think part of that is the Russos. Their direction on just the way they do action, the way they make films is different to me. Like if I sat down and watched Age of Ultron or I watched Winter Soldier, to me Winter Soldier is such a better movie. And so when I heard they were doing Civil War, I was so excited to check this out, and I was not disappointed. I would say. I know a lot of people are still saying Avengers is their favorite comic book movie just because of... I think it's because of the nostalgia fact of the first time seeing all those guys on screen. But this one, for me, is my favorite.
This is my favorite Marvel movie, too. And even though it's the third Captain America movie, and it is very much a Cap film, it really is like Avengers 2.5. I mean, let's be honest, it's everybody but Thor and Hulk. And I agree with you on the way that the Russos do action. There's just something about their imagery through chaos that it's very coherent, and it's actually kind of very elegantly orchestrated. I remember being really excited for Ultron, and that movie let me down quite a bit, but I've kind of grown to like it a little bit more on repeat viewings, but for me, I was all team Joss Whedon, and I was just like, no, I want him to keep making everything, because, I wanted him to make Infinity War, and after Ultron, he's like, oh, I'm not doing this. And then I saw Winter Soldier, and then heard right away that they were doing Cap 3, and they brought them on to do Infinity War 1 and 2, as that's coming up, and I was a little hesitant at first, but then I saw Winter Soldier, and realized that, yeah, it probably is the best directed Marvel movie. I'd say the only other one that I can rank up there is... I'm a big fan of what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy, but
That's a different type of material, though. I think.
Yeah.
But for this, it had a little bit of everything. It had action. It had emotional storytelling. It even had some comedy in it, but it wasn't over the top or campy. It was really well done, and we got to get introduced to some brand new characters, and also introduce some old characters that we hadn't seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, yet. So it was pretty incredible.
Yeah, I thought that the way that they gave a lot of additional weight and layers to characters that we'd seen prior was really effective. But I was really blown away at how elegantly they handled the introduction of new characters into the fold here, particularly Black Panther and Spider-Man for me. I mean, it was a big coup, them, Marvel getting the rights to Spider-Man and bringing him back in, but I thought in just 15, 20 minutes of screen time, if that, they managed to outdo all 5 of the previous Spider-Man movies and just get it right. And Black Panther's introduction is iconic as shit. And that's a lot to shoehorn into even a 2.5-hour movie. That many big characters and give them all their due screen time and, character moments and arcs. But I thought it was really well balanced.
Oh, they did it really well. And Tom Holland blew me away. Like, people weren't sure if he was going to be able to pull off Spider-Man. I think he's blown away any performance of Spider-Man. He has done a tremendous job.
He is Spider-Man.
He is. He has the witty banter down. He has everything down. And I thought it was interesting how they did that to where Tony Stark, because everyone was wondering, they were throwing a fit about the eyes, and so it was a good explanation to where Tony tracks him down, and he's only been Spider-Man a few months. And he basically goes in and meets Aunt May, who I love how they poked fun, because people threw such a fit when Melissa Tomei, or Marissa. I'm sorry, I got that wrong last time too. I can't say her name right. Like, I called her 8 different things.
Melissa, Marissa, Alyssa, it's all the same.
Marissa Tomei. He even threw out, because everyone was saying, "Oh, she's too hot to be Aunt May," and he even
she's a hot aunt. Let's be honest.
Kind of poked fun at that, but if you're looking at things, here's the thing. Recently, I watched. I was sent a clip at work of that oh god, what is that show where they do karaoke in the car karaoke or whatever?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
and
about.
it was this guy and Gwen Stefani was there, and she was singing No Doubt stuff
Hmm.
as they were driving in the car, and I'm like, God damn, she's hot. And I was trying to think, I'm like, how old is she? And I thought to myself, I go, she's probably late 30s, like comes kind of close to my age, you know. I mean that's older than me, but
Yeah.
like somewhere
But
in the
Gwen is
next in
hot
the
and
next
always has
5.
been.
I
So
thought in the next 5 or 8
yeah,
year range for me. She's 46 years old, and she looks
still looking
fine,
good.
fine. I mean, and let's be serious, she's getting and she's closer to grandma age.
Just poor Gavin. He's
Yeah.
never gonna come down from that cloud. Oh, sorry, that was bad. I take it
hmm
back.
But my point is, I guess, in this day and age, like people are looking aging better. They really are, and I think
Yeah,
it's people are taking care of themselves in a different way, so you don't have to have the stereotypical old person playing an older person. Because
sure.
I mean, if you think about it, someone who's because he's what is he 14,
Yeah,
15,
15. Yeah, something like that.
years old in that time frame. His parents would be in their 30s, maybe 40s.
Yeah,
So it would make sense.
right. Well, I mean, it is people taking better care of themselves, but let's be honest. There's some Los Angeles plastic surgery wonder work going on there probably too.
No, not as much. Not as
Really?
much as you'd think. A lot of it is different type of foods, just taking care of your body. I
Oh.
mean, you got to realize, like, people didn't before, like, people didn't take vitamins. They took bourbon.
What are you judging people that take
I'm
bourbon?
not judging them. I'm just saying it's not gonna make you age slower.
Well, shit.
It's going to do it faster. And cigarettes is another one. Cigarettes used to be a huge deal. People don't smoke as much as they used to.
Oh well,
But moving on to that, back to the actual topic we're talking about, which is Captain America's Civil War.
Well, before you go too far off base, I do have to mention that I kind of got a kick out of the fact that Robert Downey Jr. talking about how hot he thought Aunt May was. It was kind of funny because they were in that old romantic comedy Only You, and it was kind of funny seeing them together again. And back then, Robert Downey Jr. was much closer to the digitally youngified version of him that he was in there.
That was
So
fun.
it was
Though.
it was like a little funny reunion, I guess.
So I guess let's get into a little bit of the plot because the movie basically it's based around Bucky or the Winter Soldier if you have it. Like he's kind of the main. I wouldn't say antagonist, but the main force that everyone is kind of. It's driving
He's the inciting incident.
Yeah, he's the driving. He's driving the plot point. So he's. We have Black Panther's father, who is the king of I can't remember the African country. I'm gonna say Zamunda, but it's not Zamunda because that is from
He's
coming.
an African king.
Yeah, that's from coming to America. So it's whatever. It's next to Eddie Murphy's kingdom, wherever that is. But I'm such a racist.
Wow.
God. I'm not a racist. I just don't know geography. I'm sorry. I missed that point. But anyway, so they at the beginning they have this mission, and oh yeah, I forgot to even mention, fucking
You're talking about Crossbones, now, aren't you?
Crossbones is the baddest motherfucker.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna get in spoiler territory. That's okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
the point.
If I was going to nitpick any tiny complaint, I was like, "Wow, Crossbones was in and out super quick," but it was an effective bit. I just sort of kind of hated that they shut the door on that as quick as they did. But no, he was a badass.
He was. I was excited about that. So anyway, so he's pulling a little heist like killing spree thing, and the Avengers come in to stop him, and he detonates a bomb to try to take out Captain America and himself. The Scarlet Witch deflects it and knocks him up, and it actually accidentally goes into a building and blows up and kills a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought I like the way they're doing this because it's true. Because one of the big things that recurring theme that they've had is all the damage they've caused with their fights. They've hung on that.
Well, I love because I would never say that this movie gets really dark, but one thing I've kind of always noticed a big difference when you're looking at there's the big debate between the Marvel and the DC movies is that the Marvel films always were a lot more fun, and kind of lighter, tongue-in-cheek, and a lot of comedy. But let's be honest, in Avengers, New York gets destroyed. Age of Ultron was it Sokovia, and Winter Soldier was Washington D.C. We may not linger on it, but there are civilian casualties. No, it's not like nobody got hurt in that, and those are terror-laden, like huge, massive attacks on big, big areas all around the globe, and that's because of the Avengers. I mean, fighting for good, but there's consequences. And I love that they're bringing in and dealing with the concept of consequence and moral responsibility. And that was something that everybody complained about with Man of Steel on DC side, that it was so dark and gritty, and like Superman didn't really seem to care. The whole bunch of people died. That they kind of brought into Batman versus Superman is that there's consequences to this chaos. I kind of thought that was dealt with in a much better way in Civil War, and it kind of linchpinned into like this one scene for me towards the middle whenever Tony's being introduced to Spider-Man. There's this whole line which I know a lot of people have talked about online about how he says like why you do this. He's like, when Spider-Man says something like, instead of with great power comes great responsibility, it's the same idea that when you can do the things that I can do, I'm paraphrasing, when you can do the things that I can do and you don't, the bad things happen because of you. And you can kind of see that resonates with Tony, because that's his whole thing, and you get this weird duality debate between Team Tony, Team Cap about, should we be reined in and be, limited on what we can do so people don't get hurt, or should we do what we think is right and damn the consequences? And I kind of feel like the whole Spider-Man stance, even though it's coming from a kid, is sort of the heart of both sides of the spectrum that they're on. Like he's kind of like the heart in the middle of it, and which is really honestly more Team Cap.
The funny thing is someone of that age is not corrupt. Where he has not lived a life where he understands, cause and effect, and so
hardened by war and conflict.
Yeah, so he can actually see things through clearer eyes than most people can. But I thought that was incredible. The thing that I found interesting about this, because at this movie's core, and I think it's very probably planned that it came out in an election year. This much very feels like the way I see, because here we are almost to an election year, and I have Republican friends, Democrat friends, and they both are diehard that they are right. Mm-hmm. And this movie felt very similar to the idea of politics.
That's a really good point.
Because you have two sides, and each one has their point, and each one sees the other one's point, but each one truly believes that they are right.
Except without getting into a political debate, I can actually get behind either of the leader on in this stance.
No, absolutely. I mean, this isn't as far out or as far fetched as some of the things we're dealing with reality now, which is kind of funny. A superhero movie is more grounded in politic reality than what
that's
actual
fucked up. But you're totally right.
But so anyway, going on from what happened. So after this, they decided to basically put the Avengers under the UN or a governmental agency to where they can say where they can go, what they can do, so they actually have someone in charge of them rather than just showing up at random places and causing havoc. Because really, I guess one thing that they never bring up is, because there is no S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore. It's just the Avengers.
Right.
Now, if the Avengers go to Japan or something, and something happens and they destroy Tokyo, who pays for that?
True.
That's something that's never been brought up, and I think that's a plot point that kind of. And I don't think it needed to be brought up, but I think that comes along with why they need to be in. Someone has to be in charge of them, so someone can fit the bill or be held responsible. Because are you seriously going to go up and say, Captain America, you're at fault for this? No, you need someone. You need an agency that's in charge of that division to say, you guys fucked up. We need to,
Well, let's be honest. He's Captain America, so they're going to want to send America the bill.
Well, of course. But I thought so. That's the idea: is that Tony Stark is on board with this, and Captain America is not on board with this. Captain America thinks that it's a terrible idea. He thinks that you have casualties of war, but for them to have to listen to another agency to tell them where they can go and where they can't go. Which I totally understand. I am a veteran and I know a lot of veterans, but when sometimes it's hard when you have to do something that you don't truly believe in, and I think that's the point he was getting at, that he wants to help people, he wants to use his powers for good, but he wants to be able to choose who he helps or how he helps.
And see, that's the really interesting thing about the conflict on both sides, because how can you not sympathize with that? But also, how can you not sympathize with where Tony's coming from? I heard so many people go in with like their predisposed stances. Everybody was like in fact it was a big thing on Twitter, like like Team Iron Man, Team Cap. Everybody was all like divided. Divided we fall, divided we stand, or whatever. And it's weird when you go and you see the movie. Like I think it's almost impossible to not see both sides. Where you look at them and you're not looking at anyone saying you're wrong. You're looking at them both and saying you're both right. Like I kind of could see if you were chose to like pick a team. I could see allegiances either way because I understand where they're coming from, and it's the way that divide happens between the Avengers, this team. When they rift and they end up on like parting sides that are charging to fight each other, it's really kind of elegant and organic the way that it unfolds to where they become a divide because there's really not any outright hatred or vehement like violence that they want to enact upon one another. It's just more we have a division of our belief structure here. And I thought that how that unfolded and evolved was kind of fantastic. In fact, I still, even knowing where it goes and how it ends out, like I sympathize with both sides. So I'm just going to play the middle and say Hail Hydra. But no, I mean, like I think that that's kind of one of the things that works so well for the movie is you're not rooting for the good guy, you're not rooting for the bad guy, you're not rooting for Iron Man, you're not rooting for for Captain America, because they're both the good guys and they're both right in their own way, And I think that that's an amazing conflict because there's no clear-cut victor in terms of like, you're right, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that? Because I was actually kind of emotionally and I guess philosophically or whatever torn watching it in terms of like, who fictitious characters, but who I'm going to side with.
I think it was so well directed that and written, I guess, in a way, in the performances about it, where it was very hard to pick one side or another. And I mean, obviously, we're gonna get to the big climactic, the airport scene, which I think that everyone just kind of lost their shit over. Honestly, I really enjoyed the last fight scene with where it was Winter Soldier, Cap, and Iron Man. That was pretty incredible.
That was emotionally wrenching for me. Like by the time that we'll get to that later, but what causes that fight, God, that broke me.
I liked how they did the Falcon. I thought
Falcon was great.
He got to step up a little bit, and then they gave him a drone, which that was instead like normally he has like this bird.
Yeah, that bit when he's like he saves Black Widow, and she's like, "Thank you." He goes, "Don't thank me." She's like, "I'm not thanking that." He's like, "Oh, come on, it's cute, pet it."
Yeah,
the comedy was on point.
No, the comedy was there, and it needed to be there, but it wasn't like it wasn't
in the way.
Yeah, it was smart. It was smartly written, well done. And they came in and did a comedy bit, but they didn't like hang on it.
Well, they used it like in a really kind of fun, quick burst, but like you said, intelligent way. Like little moments where I was talking about how you're rooting for both sides, but at the same time, these are close friends and teammates that are fighting each other, like beating the shit out of each other. Some of them are superhuman, so it's not they're going to be fine. But like the airport battle, whenever they're rushing and they're fighting, that some of them are like, "I'm sorry," or like I think Hawkeye gets Black Widow, knocks her down or something, and she's like, "This doesn't mean that we're not friends anymore, right?" And he's like, "Depends on how hard you hit me." Like I love it because it's like they're feuding because they have different ideological stances, but there's still a little bit of comedy and they care about one another, even though they are trying to kill each other. Kind of.
They don't want to hurt each other. They want to just they're doing what they have to do to stop each other. So it all calls.
They're fighting for what they believe is right.
I know I'm skipping tons of stuff, but the airport seems so cool. We're just gonna skip.
That's the centerpiece. Which, come on, going in with the trailer, were you like everybody else thinking that that's the end of the movie?
I kind of did, yeah.
That's the end of Act fucking 2.
Yeah, but
that's what's amazing to me.
So they all start charging each other because it's all about they're trying to get the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
because he is seen doing this terrorist act that kills Black Panther's father. So Black Panther comes out. He takes his.
I do not want to be on that guy's bad side.
No, he is a badass.
Black Panther is the shit,
and I'm excited. Like I am super excited to see his standalone movie because I don't know tons about the character. I think I saw like the animated film, and I was like, I'm not really into this. Yeah. Like it didn't.
Isn't Ryan Coogler directing it?
Yeah.
So that's got to be good.
Yeah, so it's going to be a solid film. So he's coming out, and so he's with Tony, and they're trying to track down the Winter Soldier, and Cap's with the Winter Soldier, and they kind of, along the way, get this little team going to where each take their side, to where obviously War Machine's with Tony, and then the Falcon's obviously with Cap, and then the one that surprised me was Black Widow.
Black Widow, yeah, that was interesting.
Because you kind of think that she would be Cap, but she didn't. She went the other way. And then the Spider-Man kind of, he's neutral, but he's with Tony because Tony goes to him.
Right, but also his ideological stance, where that line that I said, he said that's really, if he heard both sides of the story, he'd probably be Team Cap. He's with
Hmm.
Tony because it's like, oh, Tony Stark wants my help, yay, and he built me a suit.
Yeah.
But no, the Black Widow thing I thought was really, not to backtrack, but I thought that was really interesting, especially the line whenever they're in the briefing room and they're talking about bringing up these accords or whatever, and Black Widow says, like Cap was thinking that she was going to agree with him, and she's like, no, I agree with Tony. And Tony's like, wait, hang on, what was that? Did you just agree with me? She's like, don't make me regret it. So, but yeah, how they divided was so organic. It wasn't like instant thing.
Just like politics.
Yeah.
To where you can be really good. I have seen people just not be friends over a simple like political stance, and that's why this thing reminded me of politics. Because I know people that I'm friends with and friendly with, and then all of a sudden they'll do a Facebook post about some Republican or vice versa Democrat rant,
Yeah.
and afterwards I'm like,
You're like, where's that unfriend button?
yeah, I'm gonna unfollow you for a little bit.
I don't want that in my
And,
feed.
and so it's funny how that can happen where people can get along, but there can be one little issue that just divides them, and that's what I saw this movie as being. But
That's humanity. I mean, for better or worse, that's people stick to their guns, man.
we during the airport thing we get some cool surprises. Number one, Spider-Man shows up.
Under ruse.
And so, which is really cool. But even cooler was Ant-Man shows up.
Oh my god. Okay, that was pretty. I've heard a lot of people say that they thought Spider-Man and Ant-Man and Black Panther stole the show.
I would agree. I would agree.
Ant-Man was so much better in this. And now I actually one of the few that I kind of liked Ant-Man. A
I
lot
like
of people
it too.
hate on it, but he was so much better as his character and what they did with him in this than the entirety of that movie.
That's true, and I think a lot of it has to do with the first movie. You have to develop that character, and it's really a silly concept. So you're trying to make it cool.
It's Honey, I Shrunk the Superheroes.
It absolutely is. And so you getting that concept down, and then now you understand it, so you can put him in this world where he can actually do stuff. And he got to be fucking Giant Man,
Yeah.
which that was
like,
fucking badass.
I can only do this once. Oh, and then him and Spider-Man stole that whole bit with it. Hey, you guys remember that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back? Those things are walking. They're like, how old is this kid? Spider-Man's been.
I like
also,
when they're fighting in the terminal, and they go, "You don't fight this much during, or you
yeah,
don't
you
talk.
shouldn't.
You shouldn't talk this much during fighting."
You got a metal arm? That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, great.
Works so
a lot
well.
of great action, a lot of great stuff. So they're all battling it out, trying to, and just figure out what's going on, and Tony's just wants them to just stop and come with me. We're going to keep you all under wraps, and Captain America's like, I must live free
Or die hard.
Absolutely, we did it. We went there
It just happened organically.
But I big fan. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the kind of like there is a villain. But
Yeah. I was gonna say, you want to talk about the third act here?
yeah, I didn't think that this movie even needed a villain, but I was surprised it actually had one.
The way that he came about and unfolded, I thought that this was outside of. I'm gonna say outside of Kingpin and like Daredevil, but the Netflix Marvel universe and the Marvel Cinematic Universe are definitely separate. I would say this, if it's not, it's at least as good, if not right underneath how good Loki was as a villain, as the best Marvel villain, because it wasn't big and it wasn't flashy in the way that he Baron Zemo was it?
Yeah,
Is that what it was?
Zemo.
Yeah, Zemo. Like the way that he what am I trying to say? The way that he like kind of played everybody against each other as like they're their own villains, rather than being like, I'm a super villain and I can do this. Like it was like psychological, and the whole time you're thinking that whole bit where they're like, oh, there's more Winter Soldiers. You
Mhm.
know, you come on, you had to have seen the movie. We're spoiling everything. Sorry, but like, oh, there's more Winter Soldiers, and he goes there and you think, oh, we're gearing up for this huge battle where they're going to fight like 6 or 7 other Winter Soldiers, and it's going to be like chaos because they're unstoppable. And then he just outright, no, that wasn't my plan, because they walk in and it's like they yank the rug out from under you. They're all dead, and he just puts in a videotape. Did you catch that? Because I am mad that I did not connect what happened in the opening scene to the little bit of dialogue when Tony was talking about, the car wreck. I'm mad I did not see that twist coming a mile away. And the second that he hit play on that tape, I was thinking, oh shit, no, and because you know from the trailer they fight,
Hmm.
but they weren't fighting. They were like Tony shows up and is like, "I'm here to help put down your guns." And it's like, "Oh, why are they getting along? When's this fight happening?" And the second that unfolded, I got incredibly nervous.
Hmm.
So
No, it was a good twist, and my favorite part of that, and this is skipping over the fight, is at the end where they're putting him in his cell, and they're explaining to him. He goes, "How's it feel that all this planning and all this stuff, and it didn't work?" And he just kind of looks back and goes, "Didn't it?"
yeah, because you know that that's not over. And I love what
Well,
they did
well,
with Panther about
but
like
the thing
that
is,
he wasn't gonna.
his
That
whole
we had to keep
his
him.
whole point was to destroy the Avengers. He
Yeah.
did.
He kind of
He
pulled
t-
it.
he tore them apart.
He kind of pulled what the Joker did in The Dark Knight, where
Yeah.
his trick was making Batman break his rule. Like it doesn't matter. He's like, no, I won. You can't do anything. He did what he
Well-
wanted. Was he tore them apart from the inside?
Well, let's think about this. Who, in your mind, is the most powerful Avengers?
Like the strongest?
Like the strongest team?
Oh, the strongest team.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, who do you think if you're getting together all these people
Mhm.
and you're saying this is my team, this is my A team. Both Tony Stark
It's
and
Captain America and Iron Man, definitely.
They're both on it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. As like leaders.
He just made it weaker.
Yeah. I pitting them against each other, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So now, and it almost feels like you're going to have this separate group, the way it ended.
Yeah, because even the allegiances are a little different. Like Hawkeye, not all of them like Tony by the end,
Mhm.
and some of them are. It's still the thing is, it's still a house divided,
Yeah.
and I like that there wasn't any clean reconciliation.
Well, each one had to suffer something that went wrong in this because, I mean, we had Agent Carter has her funeral at towards the beginning, so
Yeah.
that's a big point in Captain America where he has to face death,
And the reveal of her daughter was
Yeah.
poignant too. But
Yeah, absolutely. But it was one of those things where just he has to face his own mortality, really, and also I think makes him think about. It kind of weighs on him even harder because he has to think about all the other people that have died because of their actions.
Right.
But
He's carrying a lot of guilt and responsibility around.
which I think that's one of the plot points of the film is guilt. I thought, and then Tony has to suffer that loss. I mean, other than what we find out on the tape, but what happens to War Machine?
Yeah, that hit him, and I think that I mean I hated that because I like Rhodey, but that was a good character to use as a catalyst there.
Mhm.
I mean, like everybody had to go through something, and there were so many little tiny moments where like each character, I love how they're all affecting one another. Like some of my favorite moments were just the quiet moments with Vision and Scarlet Witch. I love
Yeah.
that where he was trying to cook her dinner.
And I love how they're playing up that because in the comics I believe they married. I know they fall in love.
I forget. I should
know.
probably
I
not.
know they definitely have a relationship together. I like how they're playing off of that.
Yeah.
But they brought in a lot of stuff from the comics. Not everything they did was like spot on, frame by frame, panel by panel of the comics.
Mhm.
But even like when we go back to that final fight with Captain America and Iron Man, they do that part where Tony shoots his blaster and Cap stopped it with the shield, and they were like right in, and that's straight off of
Yeah.
a Civil War cover.
Right.
Art,
Yeah, I
which
remember
was just
that.
amazing.
Oh, and him and Bucky beating Tony down, and then just that, and ultimately who gets the upper hand. I literally, I was on the edge of my seat, and I mean it literally, not figuratively, during that entire
and they
fight.
did an excellent callback because I believe this is going to be the final Captain America movie. Like that's just a standalone Captain America movie.
I've heard it's the final planned one. I mean, they could always change it because
Right.
they say that there's Iron Man 3 was the last one. Now they're talking, will there be an Iron Man 4? They could change it, but they're just going to Infinity War now.
My personal favorite callback was when he looks at him and he goes, "Have you had enough? I could do this all day." And that's
right back to movie one.
That's a callback to movie one. His first fight when
That was fucking
yeah,
beautiful.
that was beautiful.
That hurt, actually. Again, because it hurt as much as the line we've heard in every trailer, but it still got to me in the theater when he's like, he was my friend, and Tony just, so was I. Like that. Come on, at this point, I should have sat down and counted. What movie is this in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Oh Lord, I want to say
we've had 8 years of Marvel movies at this
Yeah.
point. I think this is. I mean, we're well into the double digits. What is it, like 15 or something? I don't.
Iron Man, I believe, came out in 2008
Okay, let's see.
because it was May of 2008 because I had just gotten back from a tour in Iraq
Okay.
and I went and saw it, and it kind of wasn't a good movie to go see.
Let's see.
to
So
be honest,
I could only imagine. Yeah. So okay, let's see. We had Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Captain America 2, Captain
Thor.
America 3, Thor 2, Avengers 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man. Am I forgetting any? Because that's 13.
I think that's it. I
Okay.
mean, I could be wrong.
Well, so we're in the early teens. We'll just say in case I did screw up there. But the point is, at this point,
You forgot about Man Thing.
Man Thing. Well, shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
Directed by Brett Leonard.
I'm sorry, I fucked up.
It went straight to DVD.
Okay. Well, anyway, the point is that after this many movies, come on, like if you're into the Marvel films, you have an attachment to all these characters and you care about their plight and you follow them and like there's all those little inside jokes like those lines and those references and those callbacks. Those are going to carry weight. So like you can't. This Marvel shit, their plan, which everybody scoffed and laughed at from the beginning, and I'm not gonna lie, I did too. And I was like, I was gonna make these movies where you have to watch them all, they all interconnect, and it just keeps going on forever. At this point, you can't have missed the other Marvel movies to fully appreciate Civil War. If you just sat down and were like, I just want to watch Civil War, it's not a one-off. It connects to and plays off of everything that we've seen, everything we built off, and those lines like, "He was my friend, so was I." Those carry weight because of how everything we've experienced with these characters to this point. And at this point, yeah, the performances are so great. I'm sorry, all these actors are those characters. I know in Infinity War, motherfuckers are gonna start dying, and it's gonna be hard because they'll pass the torch on. Someone else can carry Thor's hammer. Someone else can carry Captain America's shield. Someone else can wear an Iron Man suit. But it's gonna be hard because I can't picture. I see these characters, those actors as those characters.
Exactly, and that's one of the big reasons that I've been saying that they don't need to do Batman versus Superman yet, and this was just a quick cash grab. Because if you look at it, you just said it yourself, 13 movies built to this.
It was a slow burn. Here's the thing. This was not fast food. This was slow roasted barbecue.
Exactly, and on the other side, DC fast-tracked it in a movie that we could have had all these things.
They wanted a Big Mac.
Yeah, exactly. They were hungry now, damn it.
Baconator, motherfucker.
But yeah, that's what happened with this film, and this one was just perfectly executed. It's my favorite Marvel film.
Hands down.
Probably
my favorite superhero movie.
Got two nice little after the credits moments.
Yeah. I'm super excited for Spider-Man Homecoming now.
Oh, yeah. I thought the name was a little campy. It was a little on the nose for me.
Because he's in high school.
Well, not just that. Just because it's
Welcome Home.
Welcome Home to Marvel.
Yeah.
But I think I'm excited now
Tony's in it.
After seeing, what they've done.
I love that, everybody was talking about, like, the contract negotiations. It's like Robert Downey Jr., like, because him and I think Chris Evans signed on for 6 movies. Mm-hmm. Or if I'm remembering correctly, which was, a solo trilogy and an Avengers trilogy. And then they were like, Robert, you be in Civil War? And by the way, the third Avengers movie is now 2, so it's a 4th one. So they have to keep like renegotiating on all of them, and they're in that point where they're all, I think, getting to the point where they got to re-up. Marvel wants to lock everybody down. I think I read an interview with Chris Evans recently where he said that when they approached him, they wanted to lock him down for 9, and they got it down to 6 before they had to renegotiate. Like Marvel's like, keep playing these people forever because they had a plan, and I think a lot of people were crazy, but holy shit, it's paying off.
Yeah, I mean, just think about it. Marvel, I know it's a movie studio and it's owned by Disney, but that's how comic books work. They do a plan, and I think the problem over in DC is Warner Brothers is running the show, and they don't have a plan. They go, well, fuck, put Batman in a movie. It'll make money.
They don't have a Kevin Feige or whatever that's like running everything,
right?
Like or Feige. I always say.
I think they just like, well, we got to. They're playing catch up, and they're copying what's already been done instead of being innovative.
Right.
I mean, and I saw this. I was amazed by this. Deadpool outgrossed Batman versus Superman.
It outgrossed every X-Men movie too.
I know, but who would have thought? Who would have thought that when I told you last year, okay, Batman versus Superman's coming out in March, Deadpool's coming out in February. Which one's going to make more money?
The dumping month, and you're going to do an R-rated comic book movie? Yeah, that's a hard sell. I'd probably say Batman versus Superman. No.
And I'm not saying, like, Deadpool's incredible. It's hilarious. It's a fun, awesome movie. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I haven't, but I'm watching it soon.
But it's totally worth it. On the other hand, Batman vs. Superman is not a great film. It's not a terrible film, but it's not done well. It's hot-shotted.
Yeah, and I hate to say it. I mean, it's all early speculation. You don't know, but I heard someone told me, and so this is secondhand for someone that read something else that they're starting to do. Maybe I shouldn't even say that they. I guess there's rumors that they're doing test screenings of Suicide Squad, and it's supposedly a mess. But I don't. I hope not because I do want
Well,
that. I Here's the thing.
anytime.
I don't want DC to fail. Marvel's got it down, but like I would like to see DC do well too because I like characters in both properties.
I
But
agree. I don't want to see them fail, but they're doing it to themselves. I want them to fail so they learn a lesson that they can't just copy other people and shove it in people's faces and be however many years, 8 years behind the curve and think they're going to catch up.
they could stand to take a little advice from Bruce, their own character, Bruce Wayne's father. Why do we fall? So we can pick ourselves up again.
And I have no
Boom.
I have no hope for Suicide Squad whatsoever because, at number one, it's never a good sign when you finish your film and you go, oh shit, we got to do reshoots.
Yeah, here's the thing. I want it to be good. I'm really intrigued by what Jared Leto is going to do with Joker, and also, Margot Robbie. But
I still don't think he's Joker. I think he's a Robin.
I am. We'll find out. But
That's my theory. My theory is that he's Jason Todd.
that'd be interesting. But we also get Margot Robbie.
Jesus. No, you know what? Fuck that. You can do Harley Quinn without looking like a fucking whore. I don't give a fuck. Like I'm actually a little bit offended by the way she plays that
No,
character.
I know a lot of people have said that.
Like seriously, I have no like. If your best scene is the tiny shorts you have on you and bending over, and that's really all you got, then I have no interest in your character.
I like the character, and I'm not complaining, but I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the Gotham in me.
But no, I'm definitely intrigued to see how that works. But the point is, I don't think DC, no matter how successful anything they have is going to be able to keep up with Marvel, or not for a long time. I mean, we're talking. They've got a hell of a trajectory to get through to even come remotely close to what they're doing. Because
Well,
at this point, Marvel is going to have to try hard to fuck up.
and I know you really liked Man of Steel, but
Yeah, I did,
let's
more
go
than a
back.
lot of people.
Let's go back and think about this. Why did they make Man of Steel? Because before that, they did Superman Returns, which was a huge flop.
Yeah,
But they did the Nolan trilogy,
but that was a one-off. That wasn't going to connect.
it was absolutely a one-off, but it was very successful. And they
Yeah.
said, "That's what we need. We need a dark, gritty Superman. That's what we need." And without, they didn't even think if it was going to work for the character. Or this is what we're going to do, or this is how we're going to do things. All they thought about was the Nolan movies made money, and they're over. Let's take that same concept, and it doesn't work that way. I'm not saying it was a. I don't think it was a bad movie. I thought it. I did not think it was good as I thought it was going to be.
No, it had problems. I mean, it's the best Superman movie to me, and it's the only one that I can say that I've enjoyed. But I don't really like Superman as a character.
Me
It's
neither.
part of the problem. So I will claim some bias. I know some people like love Superman; they swear by him, and we've gotten into debates. And if you like that character, that's fine. I don't find him an interesting character.
But I think the problem is you don't just take what worked for one character and repackage another character to do that, and
Right.
thinks that that's the answer. Because now that's what they're doing with Suicide Squad. Deadpool comes out and it's a hard R and it's got tons of comedy in it and it does really well.
Mhm.
That's what the reshoots were about for Suicide Squad. It's about putting hard R type comedy
It's
in
still
it.
PG-13.
Right.
They're not going
No,
there.
no, I know, but they straight up said, they go, it's not funny enough. We need more quips and
Oh,
things.
that's what the reshoots
That's
were.
what it's all about.
Huh.
So they're yet again copying something else.
Yeah.
Do your own thing. Make your movie
Well,
what it's supposed to
well,
be
and
instead
Deadpool-
of somebody else's movie.
Well, and Deadpool wasn't even what Marvel was doing. I mean, that's Fox. They own
Right.
all the
Oh, no, yeah.
mutant stuff for Marvel.
Exactly,
So,
but it was made the way it should have been made, I guess. But that's
true to the source material.
how you're making a Deadpool movie is not how the cookie cutter formula you're going to do for a Suicide Squad movie.
No, you got to look at every story, and every property is going to have its own lists and demands. I mean, in the same sense, like Guardians of the Galaxy is very different from a lot of other Marvel movies, but that's what makes that work.
I'm
that was kind
surprised
of
that-
fresh and original.
I'm surprised that DC didn't say, No, we need that's what we need. We need a Batman
They need
to
their Star Wars.
sing old school stuff.
Oh, he had like an '80s mixtape.
Yeah, we need to. But I mean, it's rich.
He has a tape player in the Batmobile.
Yeah, perfect. But yeah, or some song that Martha Wayne listened to. That'll be it.
He's gonna be driving around too. I wear my sunglasses at night, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. That's how you get in a terrible car wreck.
The goggles come on. He's like, no, 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 no.
But we've kind of sidetracked what we were.
Oh yeah,
Actually
we're
doing.
on
So
tangents like
let's
crazy.
get back to what we came here to talk about.
Back to Civil War.
Civil War, and I guess we're up to the point now. We've talked about mainly what we're going to talk about for it. So I think it's time just to get down to a rating system. So if we're going out of five,
Five stars.
Going out of five, what are you giving it?
Help me. I'm sorry. 5 out of 5.
For me, I'm going cinematography 4 out of 5. Acting, I'm going to go 4 out of 5. Story, 5
I know
out
you're
of
rating categories.
Story, 5 out of 5. Well, I have to have mixtures here.
Okay.
So I'm going 5 out of 5 story, and 4 out of 5 for the other two categories, which were cinematography and directing.
Mm.
And so I think that averages out somewhere 4.8-ish, 7-ish.
Yeah, it's like you sound like you're a. Well, okay, if you want to. I always go by half stars, but yeah. So.
Well, you can't just give something a full. If I'm going to be serious about it.
I got it. You just asked me a rating. You didn't say rate categories. And
hey, I do. It's my goddamn show. I will do what I want.
Here's the thing. I really want to see it again. If I settle, I could see myself maybe like fluctuating a little. Like I always have trouble like rating something on one viewing. But I'm feeling really strong in the 4.5 to 5 star range. Like it's my right now the best superhero and best Marvel movie that I've seen.
Did you think it was too long?
No, I actually thought it was. There were a few scenes that I felt could have breathed a little more. I would have been fine if it was longer. That 2.5 hours flew the fuck by.
I kind of
for
thought
me.
that too, and I'm very interested in seeing what they do with a Blu-ray cut.
I don't think they've done. I mean they've had deleted scenes, but I haven't really seen them do different edits. Now the thing is, this didn't feel disjointed or all over the place like say an Iron Man 2. Where I was like, oh, scenes didn't interconnect.
That was a terrible movie.
Even though some scenes were a little, I felt could have been longer. I didn't feel that they were, cut short or abrupt. I felt like they conveyed what they needed to, and nothing overstayed its welcome. It was just, if the worst thing I can say is that I wanted more, that's a pretty good compliment.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, in the end, but no, it for 2.5 hours that dense with that many characters and how balanced it was with giving them effective screen time and the story. Like you said, the writing in that movie was amazing. It was just on point. I think, I mean, if it was longer, I wouldn't have complained, definitely. I didn't feel the time. I've seen 90-minute movies that felt way longer than that.
Yeah, I was never looking at my watch being like, wow, when is this going to end? It was just like, it was the perfect blend of story, action, and I guess a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And it had all three facets of good emotions, good action, good comedic moments, all in a single film, and that's so hard to do.
No, it's like some strange kind of alchemy. I mean, it was like we've said, before. It was sort of the perfect balance. It was entertaining. It was riveting. It was affecting. And honestly, by the time you get to that airport fight, it's built up so much to that it's been like this long fuse, and then this huge explosion happens. And honestly, if that was the end of the movie, it would have been still a really cool action movie. But that third act, dynamically and character-wise, was so fulfilling and really surprising. Like, that caught me off guard because everything after the airport fight, I was not expecting to be in that movie. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was great. And I haven't been fooled by a movie that hard in a while. Where the motives and the twist, really, and it was obvious as shit. That's the thing I'm mad about but they had so much going on that it distracted you from something that was right in front of your face. Like, you should have been able to connect those dots of where that movie was going, but I didn't. I mean, I'm not saying nobody did, but I thought it was really, really good storytelling.
Yeah, fantastic film. I'm a huge fan of it. And I'm not a superhero movie fan, so if I liked it, then it's got to be good.
Yeah, well, and I know that we've had a lot of debates. I know you can be very particular when it comes to action and like the modern cinematic blockbuster look. I thought that this felt there's something about the way the Russos do action. Like it feels modern, but it also feels a little vintage, wouldn't you say?
They they understand how to shoot action the way it should be shot, and they're not. It's not over. I know there is a lot of CGI in these movies, but it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like CGI the way the Avengers did.
Right. Well, I mean, their fights and like the hits and like car chases and everything, like they carry weight. Like that chase
Hmm.
in the tunnel where
Oh,
they're
that's
chasing.
incredible.
Here's the thing. Have you seen that thing online that shows like all the Marvel stuff where they just jump off a platform and then run because they were a
Right.
CG character until the actor hit the ground and was running?
Yeah.
There's so like you say, so much CGI and effects in there, but it's in a tangible space and it feels like there's weight and gravity and physics actually happening, even though we're dealing with characters that can defy physics because their powers. Like it makes the unreal feel real.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of it has to do with the choice of shooting a lot of that stuff in a practical location rather than shooting all of it greenhouse studio, which I'm sure there is stuff done like that.
Yeah.
But there are things in the Avengers movies that look ridiculous.
It
To
looks
me.
like a video game
It
cutscene.
does. It looks like a video game cutscene. But here, I just the way they do it, and it looks. I think it's they don't add too much shakiness, but they add just enough to give you that gritty, real feeling. Like some people say,
Yeah.
"Oh, it was too shaky." I totally disagree. I thought
I'm totally in agreement with you.
I
I thought it was perfectly fine.
I think people that think that don't understand cinematography and don't understand that the camera is an emotion, and if it calls for it, then it's okay.
Yeah, but and here's the thing: it wasn't shaking so much you couldn't. Yeah, there was uh, movement and kineticism to it, but you could tell what was going on. Like to me, now granted, I saw it in IMAX, and the smallest shake is going to ring really big on that screen. So I'm sure it's probably a little tougher to discern on that size screen as opposed to just like a normal 2D or 3D screen. But I thought the chaos was very reined in and very controlled, as opposed to like some people say like I can't tell what's happening in this movie. Like we've had the Michael Bay discussions,
Right.
but no, the Russos. Here's the thing: I could not be more excited about them carrying the torch for Infinity War 1 and 2. Like they're the perfect pick. I'd say at this point, I'm excited when they're any other directors they're bringing on. Like let's see what happens. But I'd say give the keys to the Marvel films to the Russos and James Gunn, and I'm fine with that.
Hmm. No, I totally agree. So, I guess moving on from that, that was our big movie of the week and our main topic. But then I wanted to get into a trailer of the week, and I was trying to think what should we do. And one that I'd heard about, it from several different things. It's like, oh, this is going to be a fun movie. It was at Sundance, and that people didn't really like it at Sundance.
They walked out.
People were walking out there, but I kept hearing about this movie, Swiss Army Man. And
Well, they were calling it the farting corpse movie at that point.
well, see, I didn't even hear that. I just heard Swiss Army Man, and when I thought that, I thought it was going to be some old drama at Sundance about some old Swissman in the army during some old war, in the 20s.
that
and it was
befriends a
gonna-
little child that finds his diary from the war.
And it was, about a love story or something like that.
Yeah.
It is not.
Oh, hell no.
This movie,
Daniel Radcliffe is dead as shit.
yeah, how would you explain this movie?
It seems like it's a strange coming-of-age story about a man who is at the end of his depths, stranded on an island, and wants to kill himself, and is wishing for, I guess, a sign, if you will, and that sign comes in the form of Daniel Radcliffe's character floating, played his character Manny, floating in the ocean, dead, farting fart bubbles.
Yeah, well, Paul, is it Dano?
Paul Dano? I think it's Dano.
Dano. Paul Dano is like the first time you see him, he's got this long hair, he's got this beard, he's about to hang himself.
He's very
while looking at
Castaway.
at the ocean,
Yep.
or some sort of body of water, and then he just
There's a body in the water.
Washed up is Daniel Radcliffe, and he's dead as shit, but he's still talking.
But he can talk, and he has abilities. He finds out that he can shove like a metal rod into his mouth, and then he'll fire off like a harpoon, so that he can climb. He can fire bullets. He can karate chop his head, and like have him or hit his back, and he will kung fu grip chop a log in half. And
I look at this as being like the ultimate. I kind of look at it as it's a childhood moment. Like it to me, it brought me back to being a little kid playing with an action figure.
Yes, but a lot more Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh yeah, no, this is totally Weekend at Bernie's, where your action figure is a rotting corpse. And
can we talk about the fact that this looks like kind of like this beautiful coming of age, like, will win a prestigious art house film. Honestly, when I look at it, the tone and the music cues, and like, it's weird because Paul Dano is like singing along to the score in the trailer, like la la. I'm like, what the hell is going on? It looks like an old school Paul Thomas Anderson movie mixed with Michel Gondry. Like Eternal Sunshine. Like
Mm-hmm.
it kind of feels like, I don't know, it's bizarre, but at the same time, it's about this corpse that can fart, and Paul Dano can light his farts to light a fire. At one point, his farts are lighting things on fire, and he's doing a flip in front of a bear. What the fuck is happening there? And we got to talk about the boner compass.
Oh, the boner compass.
He wakes
Yeah.
up. He wakes up, and all of a sudden, Daniel Radcliffe's, because this is the Red Band trailer that just came out. Paul Dano wakes up and looks over, and Daniel Radcliffe is sporting morning wood, and he's like, "What the hell's happening?" And he kind of like gets down and sees which direction his boner is pointing, and it's pointing at the top of the hill, and Paul Dano runs to the top of the hill, and he's like, "Manny, I think your boner's guiding us home. It's magic." Apparently, the corpse's dick it's like some kind of divining rod or something that can point the way home. And I saw like A24, the company, they had the best thing when they posted the trailer on Facebook. It said, "His farts are magic. His boner will guide you home. In a summer full of blockbusters, experience something different." I'm like, okay. I don't even need to see this trailer at this point. That description is perfect.
It's awesome. This reminds me, and it's not the same type of movie, but it kind of reminds me of how I felt when I first saw the trailers for Spring Breakers.
Yes.
And it's where it's disguised. I think it's disguised as this raunchy comedy.
Yeah.
And this full of dick and fart jokes. But I think it's much smarter than that, and it's really about, like I said, when I look at it, I think of the child in all of us.
Yeah.
Like the imagination of being able to find, like, how to get yourself out of situations. I don't know how it's going to end, but it'd be interesting. I hope it's not one of those things where you find out, oh, he was just dying the whole time. Like the whole thing was a mental thought as he was dying in his head.
In the trailer, he says, like, "I've always heard that your life flashes before your eyes," and then it's like, this is so fantastical. What if this is a fantasy of his life that's flashing before his eyes? And I'm like, what if he really is dead? Now that would be like the cheapest, it's like pulling a Lost.
Yeah.
Sorry if you haven't watched Lost, but that seems like that would be.
I think it's spoiled by this point.
Fuck it.
There's somebody right now who's like in the 5th season. Like,
on Netflix,
God
damn it. But no, it feels like I mean, they could go that route, and maybe it could get pulled off. I don't know, man. It just looks so weird and charming, and I'm like, what drugs were you on when you came up with this? But it won Best Directing at Sundance, and here's the thing. I'm gonna have to dive into it, but the director, it's 2 directors. It's a team called Daniels, because they're both named Dan, and they have a Vimeo page, and they've done like a bunch of music videos and short films. And I just started kind of clicking through on their website, and visually everything they were doing looked fascinating to me. I just kind of want to sit down and devour all of their stuff. But this movie just looks amazing. A lot of people think it looks stupid, but I don't care. This thing is right up my alley. This is exactly what I want to see in a movie, because it's so weird and so bizarre, and I want to see something unique and challenging. And it could be disappointing.
I hope it comes in the area.
I feel like it's going to have a lot of heart.
I hope it comes in the area for me to see in theaters, because sometimes around here I have to travel if I want to see some smaller type movies. But that is one. If it's one of those that I can get on demand while it's
well, A24 pushes their movies. I mean, like, they brought The Witch pretty much everywhere, and Spring Breakers. They're behind it. I feel like they're going to push it.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this one. Just the trailer alone makes me want to go out and see it. And it's one of those that I kind of wasn't even on my radar as far as a summer movie, and now it's totally on my radar, and I will see it.
Watch that trailer. Seriously, it's in this podcast, queue up and watch the Red Band trailer that just came out. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's absolutely hilarious. So other than that, I can't think of a whole lot of things I want to go over for this week's show. It's good to be back. It's good to finally get to review a newer movie. We've been talking about doing a lot of nostalgia things the last couple of weeks, and
which is always fun.
It's always fun, but I kind of I like to see things new and try to just we're now into the thick. Well, not the thick of it. We're past the tip, but we're right in the summer blockbuster season.
Just past the tip.
Just past the tip. And so we got a lot of good ones coming out. This Friday we got The Darkness with Kevin Bacon, which will be our first horror movie of the summer.
Yeah.
Which I'm I'm interested in. I'm not too excited about. There's a couple of other horror movies
It's
this
PG
summer I'd
13,
rather
isn't
see.
it? I
Yeah,
always have a. Here's the thing.
I like Kevin Bacon,
Oh
but
yeah,
yeah,
I'll watch anything Kevin Bacon's in. It's
it'll be
awesome,
full of
but
jump scares and blah blah blah.
yeah, I'll give it a shot. But yeah, and then I think a few other films are kind of going wider.
Yeah, a few, but like that's the I think that's the big one I know about, and then later this month we have
X Men Apocalypse,
Apocalypse,
which is
which
not. I'm not hearing good things, and you
no,
know
which
I
is
was super excited
surprised.
about that.
That's the one. Like I assumed. This is the way I kind of planned it out. I said,
We both love Days of Future Past. That was great.
yeah, it was a great
So
film.
I expected this to follow in fashion.
I guess the way I saw it was I thought I kind of called that Batman versus Superman was going to kind of bomb, and it didn't. It didn't. It didn't make. I don't think it made the gazillion dollars that the studio thought it was going to make.
Yeah.
I thought Captain America was going to sweep and just be amazing. I haven't really looked at the box office on what numbers they brought in.
Worldwide or domestically? Because right now I think worldwide it's like three-quarters of a billion.
Nice.
It's been out a week.
That's
well,
good.
I mean, no, granted, it opened overseas before, but you know,
Yeah.
it's doing very well. They were complaining a little bit because it's I think the fifth highest opening of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel has three of them, but and you know, and guess what number 6 is? Iron Man 3. So all they did was edge out one of their own.
Yeah.
But it didn't get an opening weekend as high as Avengers: Age of Ultron, and they kind of thought that this was going to be only the fourth movie or whatever to get 200 million opening weekend, because you know, like that's been a thing with, like, you know, Star Wars and Jurassic World, and they were thinking, oh, this is going to do it too, like, and they were upset Age of Ultron didn't. It made like 191 million or something, if I remember correctly. This came in shy, it was like 178 or so. I should have it in front of me, but it was like it was high.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, here's the thing, that thing's going to carry over. Hell, that's going to carry over probably, you know, into the holiday weekend coming up. Like this is going to continue to do well, and it's also got, like, I think an A cinema score. It's like, I think fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. So word of mouth is going to keep this thing going. Who cares about opening weekend?
Yeah, and I thought Apocalypse was going to be the big sleeper that was going to surprise a lot of people, but it was probably going to be my favorite movie of the three. Pretty close with Captain America.
You weren't hot on the trailers. You and I got into debates
no,
about that.
I'm not hot on the. I was not hot on the trailer. Like my point has gone down and down the more stuff they've shown me. When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, I'm excited to see this." And then I saw Purple Man, and I'm like, "Oh!" And then I was told that, well, that was the lighting, and I'm like, "Then color correct your damn photos."
Yeah, because I mean, like, because I loved the trailers, and I was like, "Oh," and you were like, "No, not for me." And we were having a bit of a civil war over that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know. I'll see it. I'll check it out and see if it's.
I
any
definitely
good.
want to check it out.
But yeah, that's pretty much May. That's unless you want to run out and see Angry Birds.
Well, you know, there's always that.
Did they learn nothing from the Caveman TV series, the Geico Caveman?
Well, here's the thing. They're desperate to get a video game movie to work. Not to branch off into another trailer, but another trailer that I think just came out today was Assassin's Creed, and like, so they're desperate to get a video game movie that is going to
Find me one that's ever been good, though.
Here's the thing. I like those video games, and I love Michael Fassbender. I will give that one a chance.
It's a video game movie. It's not going to be any good.
I'm sorry. The first Silent Hill is still good to me. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, but here's my thing on that. How much does that really follow the story of the first game? Because I'll say it this way, and I'm not a huge gamer, but I recently because I certain games I like, but I got the new, or not the new, but the next gen Tomb Raider that came out, and I beat that. And the thing about this is where I see the medium of movies and video games, and the difference there is the story arc. If that game was a movie, to do it justice, just that game alone, it would have had to been 3 movies.
Yeah,
because
makes sense.
The story arc is completely different. And I think that's the problem with video game movies, is they try to jam everything into. They try to jam one game into one movie, and you just can't do that.
Well, I gotta admit, not to go on a tangent here, but like, since you mentioned that, I am kind of looking forward to what I'm hearing about the new Tomb Raider movie, because like it mainly had to come with the casting. Alicia Vikander, with them casting her. I know there was talks about Daisy Ridley from Star Wars, and I was like, oh no, but then, you know, the girl from Ex Machina, like I think that she's going to be good for the role. I can see her as Lara Croft. I mean, she's a great actress. She's gorgeous. I really think that she might be able to break away from the Angelina Jolie crap that we had. So
Yeah, and those movies were
terrible.
terrible, and they didn't know what they were doing. And it was the same thing. They were like, "Well, let's make a movie, but not really have a good plot and have a way to base it off." But there's a couple of video game movies coming out this summer because we got Warcraft coming out in June. I have no interest in seeing that. It looks like a CGI mess to me. But
Yeah, no, but I can get behind Assassin's Creed, but I am not. I don't know. I'm not really sure what they're thinking. Let's see, we got I don't know. Money Monster. That's coming out. Jodie Foster's
right.
that movie that she directed with George Clooney.
Excellent.
I know that's. Here's the thing. Everything is playing for second, third, whatever fiddle of the Civil War. That thing is going to be tops for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to own the screens, and you know, that's going to be the movie for a while.
That's why I was thinking, because the blockbusters are moving to different locations. I'm wondering if people are going to start and strategically plan their movies based on when Marvel's not putting out movies. So are we going to see bigger movies in January and February?
We could. I mean, here's the thing. Like I saw, Marvel's got release dates, and them in DC, they keep saying, oh, by the way, unnamed Marvel project or unnamed DC project. They keep claiming release dates, and there was just a huge shift of release dates recently because Warner Brothers announced they have the second Godzilla movie, and they have the Kong movie. Well, they just announced Godzilla versus Kong, or Kong versus Godzilla, or whatever.
Yeah, for 2020.
So they're starting to eat up release dates, and they're shifting things around because I saw something, there was a big deal about when Pitch Perfect 3 was going to come out because they were looking, well, this is going to be up against this, and you look how many huge franchises we got, which ties into other casts we've talked about. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is huge, but under Disney, you've also got Star Wars, and now we're getting a Star Wars movie every year. Rogue One later this year, and then Episode 8 next year, and DC trying to claim all these spots, and then there's Hasbro is going crazy with they had to shift around the release dates for Transformers 5 and 6, and they're going to start making a universe of side stories of individual characters with those. And then I heard something that they're going to do more G.I. Joes, and it was Mask, which, oh my god, I love that they're doing something about Mask, because that was my shit when I was a kid, and nobody remembers it. But they're doing Mask, and I forget what it was. They're combining it with another one. It wasn't Thundercats. It wasn't Voltron. It might have been G.I. Joe. Mm-hmm. It was Mask and something. But anyway, Hasbro's now getting into, from their toy lines, when we were kids.
So cinematic universe.
Yeah,
of the
cinematic
lines.
Universe of those, and they're doing a cinematic universe of.
Universal monster movies, Universal's going to do that.
Tom Cruise is doing the Mummy reboot, and they're going to start getting into those. So you're going to have all these major tentpole films that are fighting for. No one's going to want to open opposite each other, and no one's going to even want to open a week apart because people want holdover weekends from word of mouth. So they're going to want to at least book those a few weeks, 3 to 4 weeks apart. It's going to get dense, man.
And like I say,
we're moving up to getting multiple, 3 or 4 Marvel movies a year at this point.
I just don't see these groups following what, just because Marvel did it and it was really successful. I don't see all these other people being able to do it.
No, I
Hasbro to me is, I don't know, just saying Hasbro films is laughable to me. Just thinking that it's it's fucking laughable.
Well, it was weird when I saw the Assassin's Creed trailer and Ubisoft was popped up on there. So, but I mean, here's the thing. A lot of the stuff could end up sucking, but for better or worse, these are all properties that we knew, whether they were toys that we played with, comics that we read, video games that we played, TV shows that we watched, or movies that, went off the rails we want to see coming back. These are familiar properties that at some point we've cared about, even through their missteps. It's kind of, I've said it for a while now, but it's really a great time to be a nerd, which is weird because that's almost mainstream anymore. Concept of nerd culture is not even even a thing anymore.
It's just culture. It's almost like now the nerds are people that aren't into that.
It's
stuff.
If you don't like Marvel, you're a nerd.
Yeah.
But I if you don't play video games, you're a nerd. I think it's. I am just excited to have all these things that that I enjoy. You have options, and is it all going to be good? No, but I'm willing to give any of it a chance because
some of it might be Ghostbusters.
Well, I intentionally stay away from that one because my stance. Fuck that film.
We'll get there later this summer, but that's gonna be our show for today. And join us next week. I will be back, and Christine Renee Farley will be back, and we're going to do a viewing of a film I have never seen. So come back next week to check that out. But before we go, we're going to hit a little bit of our plugs. You can check us out over at Black Coat Radio every single Friday with Movie Night with Johnny Cinema. You can hit us up on Monday for our Zero Lives, a video game podcast, and on Wednesdays with One Sweet Wrestling Podcast. Get your pro wrestling fix over there. So, for Black Coat Radio and Movie Night with Johnny Cinema, I am Johnny Cinema, and you are
Toby DePalma.
And we will see you at the movies.
Oh! It's moving! What's happening?
Manny, I think your Wang is guiding us home. It's magic.